Tales with Gigi presents A Christmas Carol.
Once upon a time, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his office. It was very cold outside, and in Scrooge's office it was not much warmer either. Suddenly, Scrooge's nephew entered the office. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" Fred said. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug!" "Christmas a humbug, Uncle?" said Scrooge's nephew. "You don't mean that, I am sure." "I do," said Scrooge. "What's Christmas time to you? You have to pay bills without money. You're a year older, but not an hour richer. Keep Christmas in your way and let me keep it in mine." "Keep it? But you don't keep it," said Scrooge's nephew, who was a very friendly young man. He even tried to cheer Scrooge up and invited him for dinner on Christmas Day. But Scrooge said no and sent him out. When Scrooge's nephew left, two gentlemen came in to collect money for the poor who had no place they could go. Stingy Scrooge, however, didn't give the gentlemen any money. "Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?" he asked sarcastically, and told them to leave the office. When it was time to close the office, Scrooge talked to his clerk, Bob Cratchit. "You want all day off tomorrow, don't you?" said Scrooge. "If that is okay, sir," answered the clerk. "It's not okay," said Scrooge, "and it is not fair. After all, I have to pay you for the day, although you don't work. But if it must be, I want you to start work even earlier the following morning." Cratchit promised that he would, and the two went home. Scrooge lived all alone in an old house. The yard was very dark and scary that night, and when Scrooge wanted to unlock the door, he had the feeling that he saw the ghost of his old business partner, Marley, who died a long time ago there. This was rather spooky, but Scrooge was not frightened easily. "Humbug," he said, opened the door and walked in. He locked himself in, however, which he usually didn't do. But then he felt safe again and sat down before the fire. Suddenly, Scrooge heard a noise deep down below, as if someone was dragging a heavy chain. The noise came nearer and nearer, and then Scrooge saw a ghost coming in right through the heavy door. It was Marley's ghost, and his chains were long. They were made of cash boxes, keys, and heavy purses. "Who are you?" said Scrooge. "In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley. But why do you come to me now?" "I must wander through the world, and I wear the chains because I was so stingy in life. I only cared about business, but not about the people around me. Now I am here to warn you. You still have a chance, Ebenezer. 3 spirits will come to you. Expect the first tomorrow, when the bell tolls 1. When he had said these words, Marley's ghost disappeared, and the night became quiet again. Scrooge went straight to bed without undressing, and fell asleep immediately. When Scrooge awoke, it was still very foggy and extremely cold, and there was no noise of people in the streets. Marley's ghost bothered him. He didn't know whether it was a dream or not. Then he remembered that a spirit should visit him at 1 o'clock. So Scrooge decided to lie awake and wait to see what happens. Suddenly, the clock struck 1. Light flashed up in the room, and a small hand drew back the curtains of his bed. Then Scrooge found himself face to face with the visitor. It was a strange figure, like a child, yet not so like a child as like an old woman. Her hair, which hung about her neck and down her back, was white as if with age, and yet the face had not a wrinkle in it. "Who and what are you?" Scrooge asked the ghost.
I am the ghost of Christmas past. Rise and come with me.
The ghost took Scrooge back in time to a place where Scrooge was a boy. There Scrooge could see his younger self playing with other children. They were cheerfully running around the Christmas tree, and although they were poor, they had lots of fun. The spirit also took Scrooge to a warehouse where Scrooge was an apprentice. Scrooge saw the merry Christmas Eve they spent in the office with their boss, Mr. Fezziwig, and his family. There was food and music and dancing, and everybody was happy. Then the spirit took Scrooge to yet another place. Scrooge was older now. He was not alone, but sat by the side of a beautiful young girl, Belle. There were tears in her eyes.
It is sad to see,
she said softly.